When I was a little kid, I don't know, I want to say I was maybe 4. We had a dog named Pepe Le Pew. I don't know why the dog was named Pepe Le Pew, and from what I understand, what I've been told, is that this dog was a standard poodle. So when you think about poodle, you think about the little ones, the toy poodles. No, this was standard. This is a big ass poodle. You can put a saddle on him and ride him. So we had a standard poodle, and his name was Pepe Le Pew. I don't know if he was my dad's dog, my mom's dog. Probably would have been my mom's dog, not my dad's. He didn't get out like that. Or it may have even been my dog. I don't remember. This one made my little brother like 2 at the time. From what my mother has told me, I love this dog, play with this dog all the time, but apparently I didn't understand the relationship of a human, a small child, and a dog, so I was rough. To me, I was just playing, I suppose. But a dog's gonna be a dog, and a dog, as much as love you and lick on you and everything, the dog still has limits. It still has boundaries, and I didn't understand. I was 4. So apparently I did something to the dog one day that the dog did not like. Pepe did not like. And Pepe bit me. I don't think he broke skin. I don't remember. I don't know if he broke skin. He was just nipping at me like, hey, watch your shit, little boy. But apparently this child in me, and again, if you've heard the stories about, my relationship with my father, even at 4, 6, whatever, however old it was when this happened, we had already, started martial arts, and was very aggressive little boy, because, my daddy was all about his Cobra Kai moments, and sweep the leg, finish him, that type shit. So apparently Pepe Le Pew bit me, and as I was told, and I'm taking a long time to drawing this out because I'm ashamed of it already. So I apologize to PETA, ASPCA, to everyone else, to dog lovers of America, because I love dogs. I do. Apparently, the child in me got bit and tried to pull Pepe Le Pew's tongue out of his damn mouth. I was very upset. My mom stopped me, and I just couldn't understand how this thing, this dog that I loved, bit me and wanted to do harm to me. Now, in my little child brain, and I'm thinking back on it, I do not remember the incident. And for me trying to rationalize it now as a grown man, I'm thinking that if I love this dog, why would it try to harm me? Why would it try to tear my neck out? Which I think it just bit me on the arm. But part of that could be misplaced aggression. I did not have a good relationship with my father, and he was quite abusive, and if I couldn't get him, unfortunately, Pepe had to suffer the consequences for all 3 seconds of 4-year-old little boy trying to get upset with his dog. I don't remember what happened after that. I know my mom pulled me off the dog, and I think shortly after that, my mom gave Pepe Le Pew to one of her friends. She was really upset that he had bit me. She was upset that I tried to get revenge, and she was afraid of what the dog may do to me at another point if the dog was still mad enough. Redemption. Hello, Governor. This is Rakasti, nupefromdaville, and I'm here to talk to you about Season 3, Episode number 2 of Invincible, and this one's called A Deal with the Devil. Now, I'm calling my particular media therapy deep dive Redemption Arc, and it made me think a lot about this particular episode. I'm not going to do a long recap anymore. If you want to see the reaction and the discussion that went with that reaction, go into the description and look at the video between Centel and myself. This particular episode was maybe the best of the entire series because we get to see the backstory on how Cecil became who he is. They showed Cecil's redemption arc, maybe. From when he was a young agent, he sacrificed basically his life on the job. He gets well and goes back out in the field, but in stopping an attack and saving his mentor, the two criminals that basically he sacrificed his life for, and he spent a ridiculous amount of time in the hospital healing from, well, they actually were not killed. They were saved and rehabilitated, and now they're good guys? Cecil said, hell no. And he shot them both, killed them. And he ended up going to prison. And he spent 3 years in prison learning about who actually is a good guy and a bad guy. In the discussions Senta and I have, we talk about how you don't work with criminals and people who kill people, but then you turn around and murder 2 people. It seems hypocritical, to say the least. So we go into this episode with now he's having the different dealings. The same dealings that his director had with him is now him with Mark. But you would think that someone who went through that would find a better way to teach a 19-year-old kid. I mean, of course you can't send Mark to prison to teach him the lesson that Cecil had to learn the hard way. But he should be more cognizant of that Mark needs some sort of lesson when it comes to the power of redemption. I have 2 quotes. One will be one we get into. First quote, not sure who made this quote. The highest reward for a person's toil is not what they get for it, but what they become by it. Hold that thought. The second one is actually said by Cecil in the show. And this is the path I want to take us down. Cecil, GDA director Cecil Stedman says, you can either be the good guy or the guy who saves the world, but you can't be both. I thought this was the best episode of the entire series, and it was because it was about redemption to me. It was about Cecil's redemption and the place that he finds himself now, being the director of the GDA, knowing that the Viltrumite invasion is coming. And really, the only shot they really have to save the world is Mark. But Mark got his ass handed to him by Anissa. She was one. They got a whole planet of Viltrumites. And last time, Mark got into it with the Viltrumites, they whooped his ass and took his daddy. Finding redemption involves acknowledging mistakes, accepting responsibility, and making changes in your life. It's a very personal journey that can take time. You have to recognize that you made a mistake and realize that there are no good excuses. You made a mistake. Own it. You have to accept your responsibility, and not only in hoping that others forgive you for the mistake that you made, because they don't have to. They can. But you have to forgive yourself. It's too easy, especially, in a show like this, you're talking about superheroes and icons and hero worship. It's very easy to put people like that on a pedestal and think that anything that they say, anything that they do is gospel. They're rich, they're famous. Why would they do something if it wasn't for everyone's good? And that's not how people work. We are human. To err is to be human. It's what we do. We mess up a lot. If you think about Cecil's quote, it seems self-centered and cynical. You can't be the good guy and the guy who saves the world. And we know that Cecil's not going to be actually the one who saves the world, but he's the one who's in charge. He's the one that, runs the Guardians of the Globe. He's the one that makes a lot of hard decisions and does things that he does right now for the defense of the world. But that was the same problem that we had when we were watching Marvel and the Avengers, is that Tony Stark got out of pocket. Sometimes, even if you are the brightest person in the room or the most rich person in the room, that doesn't make you right. And it takes sometimes those with balls enough, and believe me, the balls don't have to be on a man. Some of the most ballsy people I've ever met are some women. Trust. You have to have the moxie, you have to have the internal fortitude. But not only that, you have to use some logic, some reason, and some intelligence, and be able to think comprehensively of all the consequences that may happen from your actions. And that does not mean what it means only to a select group of people. That may be on your mind. Yes, if I do this, will only other black people be affected? If I do this, like the people who are in power now, will only other rich people be affected? Part of the problem why so many countries are being run into the ground is because that's all they think of. Can you live your life long enough to see yourself become the bad guy? I definitely have. I have been the good guy. I've been the bad guy multiple times, and depending on who you ask, right now I'm still the bad guy to a few people. Can you be the good guy and save the world? You have to commit yourself to positive change. It is hard for anyone to forgive you. It shouldn't be, because actually that's to forgive is the crux of what being a Christian is about, but a lot of people don't live by those principles. Okay, cool. Most people don't understand this. One thing to forgive is a whole different thing to forget. You can forgive. That don't mean I got fool with you no more. When you work to improve yourself in the direction of good, unfortunately, if you looked at some of my very latest deep dives, all of these things kind of seem to be coinciding. A lot of people, they don't like to let you forget who you were. We have a problem in this country. We send people to prison to be rehabilitated, but then when they get out, we do everything we can to turn them back to the life of crime because we don't give them a chance, we don't give them a job, we don't give them the time of day. We do everything we can to remind them of who they were. And sometimes we see people at their lowest, and once they hit their lowest, that's where they always will be for us. And it's unfortunate because you never want people to see you at your lowest. And even if you rise to the highest heights, people go out of their way to remind you when you were here, instead of seeing you now be here. Mark doesn't know Cecil's story. He doesn't know what he's been through. He doesn't respect his wisdom because, hey, he doesn't have any powers. You're not like me. It's kind of the same thing. Like if you play basketball, do you respect the coach who's never played basketball as much as you respect the one who has played? Even though the one who has played might be a trash-ass coach. Because he may not be able to tell you how he played the way he played. He may not be able to get you to believe that you need to put in extra hours, that you wake up 2 hours before school and you get out there and shoot shots before school. You shoot shots after school. You're the first one in the gym, the last one in the gym, to eat right, take care of your body. It's a big commitment. Maybe the coach that never played, maybe he knows that. Maybe he's willing to do that. Maybe he knows X's and O's and watches film and does stuff without anybody's business. Doesn't change how we feel about people. I don't care who you are. We all are going to mess up. It's what we do. And everybody should be able to receive a do-over. Now, if that's not something that you want to give people, okay, that's your business, and you're allowed to feel that way. But if anything's going to get any better, remember, those people that you wouldn't let be redeemed may be the same people that are standing in the way when you need a redemption.